I'm Russ Mitchell. Tonight, a CBS News exclusive. American soldiers come to the rescue of Iraqi orphans living in the most horrendous conditions.
The kids were tied up, naked.
And wasting away until U.S. forces arrived.
I picked him up and then immediately, the kid started smiling.
Also tonight, dramatic rescues in Texas after flash flooding leaves hundreds stranded. And the most famous person you never heard of, why every move he makes is posted on the web.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
And good evening. Katie is off tonight. We are beginning this evening with the rescue of some of the most innocent victims of the war in Iraq. The pictures you're about to see are graphic, but they tell the story of American soldiers who found 24 special needs children clinging to life in squalid, deplorable conditions in an Iraqi orphanage, found them and saved them. The orphanage is in Baghdad, and Lara Logan has this amazing story.
This was the scene that shocked battle-hardened soldiers, captured in photographs obtained by CBS News. On a daytime patrol in central Baghdad just over a week ago, a U.S. military advisory team and Iraqi soldiers happened to look over a wall and found something horrific.
They saw multiple bodies laying on the floor of the facility. They thought they were all dead, so they threw a basketball, tried to get some attention, and actually one of the kids lifted up their head and tilted over and looked and then just went back down. So they said, oh, they're alive, so they went into the building. Inside
the building, a government-run orphanage for special needs children, they found more emaciated little bodies tied to the cribs. Kept this way for more than a month, according to the soldiers called in to rescue the 24 boys.
I saw children that you could see literally every bone in their body. They were so skinny. Had no energy to move whatsoever, no expression on their face.
Kids were tied up, naked, covered in their own feces, and they were all just 3 people that were cooking themselves food, but nothing for the kids.
In the kitchen?
Yes, ma'am.
With all these kids starving around them?
That's correct.
It didn't stop there. The soldiers found kitchen shelves packed with food, and in the stockroom, rows of brand new clothing still in their plastic wrapping. Instead of giving it to the boys, the soldiers believe it was being sold to local markets. This is the man in charge, the orphanage caretaker. His well-kept office shown in this photo, a stark contrast to the terrible conditions just outside this room.
I got extremely angry with the caretaker when I got there, and it took every muscle in my body to restrain myself from not, going after that guy.
He's since disappeared and is believed to be on the run. But these 2 security guards are in custody, arrested on the orders of the Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki. 2 women who also worked there posed for these pictures in front of the naked boys as if there was nothing wrong. They've disappeared as well.
My first thought when I walked in there was shock, and then I got a little angry that they were treating the kids like that, and then that's just when everybody started getting upset. There was people crying. It was definitely a bad emotional scene.
Nothing more emotional than finding this boy, who Army medics didn't expect to survive. For Staff Sergeant Gibson, that was the hardest part.
Seeing this boy that was here where we're standing with thousands of flies covering his body, unable to move any part of his body, we had to actually hold his head up and tilt his head to make sure that he was okay. And, the only thing basically that was moving was his eyeballs. Flies in the mouth, in the eyes, in the nose, ears, eating all of the open wounds from sleeping on the concrete.
In this boiling sun here?
Yes.
It's well over 100 degrees.
120 or so, yes.
Hard to believe that this is the same boy 1 week later, now clean and being cared for, along with all the other boys in a different orphanage located only a few minutes away from where they suffered their ordeal.
This little boy right here is the little boy that Sergeant Beale carried out, and you saw him, he was very emaciated.
I picked him up, and then immediately, the kid started smiling. And as I got a little bit closer to the ambulance, he just started laughing. It's almost like he completely understood what was going on.
When we visited the orphanage with the soldiers, it was clear the boys had been starved of human contact as much as anything else. Some still had marks on their ankles from where they were tied. Since only one boy can talk, it's impossible to know what terrible memories they might have locked away. The memory of what he saw when he helped rescue the boys that night haunts Ali Sohail, the local council head, who wept during our interview. Later at the hospital, Lieutenant Jason Smith brushed teeth and helped clean up the boys. He and his wife are both special education teachers, and he was proud to tell her what the soldiers had done.
She said that one day was worth my entire deployment, so it made my time here worthwhile.
This is a tough test for the Iraqi government. How a nation cares for its most vulnerable is one of the most important benchmarks for the health of any society. Lara Logan, CBS News, Baghdad.
We know there is a lot of interest in helping these children, but it is a complicated situation, and exactly what you can do is not yet clear. We'll have more on this continuing story tomorrow. In the meantime, to hear more from the soldiers who rescued the children, you can go to cbsnews.com. Also in Iraq, U.S. and Iraqi forces launched new attacks today on the northern and southern fringes of Baghdad to clear out Sunni insurgents and al-Qaeda fighters. This is new video released by the Pentagon today, taken by an Apache helicopter crew south of Baghdad. The crew follows the insurgents, who are clearly armed, as they run toward a building. Moments later, the Apache fires and the building is destroyed. 4 suspected insurgents were killed before the rest surrendered. Meanwhile, a tragic mistake when U.S.-led coalition jets bombed a suspected al-Qaeda compound in the eastern part of Afghanistan. While a number of insurgents were killed, so were 7 boys, some as young as 10 years old. Now to the Middle East and the Palestinian crisis. With the radical group Hamas firmly in control of Gaza, the Bush administration is reaching out to the Fatah-led government on the West Bank. Secretary of State Rice made the announcement today that financial help is on the way.
We intend to lift our financial restrictions on the Palestinian government, which has accepted previous agreements with Israel and rejects the path of violence.
In a phone call today, Palestinian President Abbas told President Bush he is ready to restart Middle East peace talks. Back in Gaza, conditions are beginning to deteriorate. Many want to leave, but the borders with Egypt and Israel are sealed. And today, new violence broke out. More now from Richard Roth on the Gaza border.
Weary and desperate, Palestinians trying to get out have been stuck in a no man's land on the Gaza-Israel border, where today Israeli troops started pushing them back. Tear gas and warning shots sent the refugees running, and then it got worse, with Palestinian gunmen and Israeli soldiers trading fire. At least 1 person was killed and more than a dozen wounded. The Palestinians who got out of Gaza today got out by ambulance. Israel says it won't let a humanitarian crisis develop. It's allowing some food to enter Gaza and some fuel, but not much else. Israel controls Gaza's airspace and its sea coast and a land border here that runs 32 miles. If Gaza was already the world's biggest prison, the rules now amount to a lockdown. And in her Gaza apartment, Atimad Mahana, a 40-year-old single mother, feels like an inmate. She's a planning consultant by profession who feels unable to plan a thing.
I feel I'm hopeless because I'm living in insecurity and in a high level of uncertainty. So from my point of view, I feel hopeless and life is worthless.
It was scary enough in the violence, she says, as militants captured control of Gaza. And while she says Hamas claims it won't impose Islamic rules for behavior and dress, now she's frightened of that.
I mean, I am one of maybe 15, 20 women in the whole Gaza Strip who move without unveiled, without scarf. So I feel scared to move in the street.
The gunmen in Gaza weren't all wearing masks today, but they're still inspiring fear. Richard Roth, CBS News, on the Gaza border.
In this country, at least 4 people have been killed in flooding in northern Texas, and a number of others are missing. In places like Gainesville and Sherman, up to a foot of rain fell overnight in just a few hours. Many people had to be rescued from roofs and trees. Mark Strassman is in Gainesville tonight.
Parts of North Texas look like a hurricane somehow hit the heartland. Torrential rain, falling an inch an hour overnight, left dozens of towns underwater.
We've been there 2 months and everything just messed up, and we can't afford anything. I mean, we don't even know where we're going to go tonight.
Rescuers were at it all day, plucking people and pets from rooftops. Volunteers used anything they could to save people from rising floodwaters. Small roads and interstates were impassable. Some people simply couldn't outrun the deluge.
It's a very swift current.
These two men were lucky to be able to grab this tree after floodwaters swept their car away. More than 100 residents at this nursing home in Sherman had to be evacuated. Others weren't so lucky. In Haltom City, near Fort Worth, 4-year-old Alexandria Collins slipped from her mother's hands while she was trying to hand the little girl to a rescue boat.
It capsized, the water got real high, and it swept them under.
This is Pecan Creek that cuts through the city of Gainesville. After nearly 8 inches of rain, this morning its waters surged over its banks and swamped a nearby mobile home park, washing away homes and carrying away a pair of young girls. Search teams looked for hours before finding the body of a 5-year-old girl. Her 2-year-old sister and their grandmother are still missing. Their mother survived.
That's the only thing she could remember. She was in a tree and was rescued out of the tree.
3 weeks of steady rain has saturated the ground in this part of Texas. Add the overnight downpour from a slow-moving storm, and you have a recipe for disaster. These floodwaters are now receding, but more thunderstorms are on the horizon. Mark Strassman, CBS News, Gainesville, Texas.
There is much more CBS News ahead, including the state of the art in jetliners. A close-up look tonight at Boeing's new Dreamliner. But next, police smash a worldwide internet pedophile ring. Some of the alleged victims less than 1 year old. Duke University announced a financial settlement today with the 3 former lacrosse players falsely accused of rape. Duke had suspended Dave Evans, Colin Finnerty, and Reed Seligman after they were indicted. The amount of the settlement is being kept secret, but the 3 men said they hope the agreement will begin to bring the Duke family together again. Again, overseas now, police in Britain said today they have brought down a worldwide internet pedophile ring in one of the biggest busts of its kind ever. 31 kids were rescued from further abuse, some only a few months old. More than 700 alleged ring members are under investigation in 35 countries, including the U.S. Elizabeth Palmer has the latest.
These are the first pictures of the men who ran the internet pedophile ring from a house in southeast England. Timothy Cox, arrested at his parents' home last September, was convicted today. He won't get out of jail until he's no longer considered a threat to children. Considering the service he ran, that may be never. His internet chat room, called Kids, the Light of Our Lives, offered thousands of images of babies and children being abused, some of it on demand.
This was about the live sex abuse of children online. So this was about children who were being abused on camera with guys all over the world sending instructions, do this, do that. It was a very grim and gruesome business.
The trail leading to Cox started in Canada over a year ago with the arrest of 24 pedophiles. Police followed links from there to another ring in Tennessee and eventually to the apparent global ringmaster in Britain. When they finally arrested Cox, officers were able to impersonate him online and gather information on other men using the chat room. The international police effort was able to identify and rescue 31 abused children. The pedophiles they identified not only traded images, many probably also trawled children's websites.
I love the internet. I can chat for as long as I like.
Looking to recruit young victims.
I can talk about anything.
Today's very public sentencing of Cox is intended to send a message to all pedophiles.
So we'll be knocking on your door before you know it.
The police hope this investigation will eventually lead to hundreds of arrests. But they also know that as they get better tracking pedophiles in cyberspace, the pedophiles will be finding more secure virtual places to hide. Elizabeth Palmer, CBS News, London.
The number of Japanese over the age of 100 has almost quadrupled in the past 10 years. And today, the Guinness people officially certified Tomoji Tanabe the oldest man in the world. He's 111 years old. A former land surveyor, he says he doesn't smoke or drink. His beverage of choice, milk. Up next, Air Wars. Boeing aims to beat Airbus with this, the most high-tech jetliner ever built. We have an update tonight on the story Anthony Mason reported here last week about the stockholder revolt against Yahoo chairman and CEO Terry Semel. He was earning $170 million in compensation while the stock price plummeted. Today, Semel was forced out as CEO. He'll remain chairman. The new chief executive is Yahoo co-founder Jerry Yang. Overseas, this is the equivalent of Super Bowl week for the airline industry. The world's largest air show is being held in Paris. Today, Airbus showed off its super jumbo, the A380, taking it through a series of twists and turns. The European consortium hopes to pick up new orders for its giant jet. But it is way behind Boeing, which of course is based in the U.S. As Nancy Cordes reports, Boeing has a superstar of its own.
When the first 787 Dreamliner rolls off Boeing's factory floor next month, it will be the most technologically advanced airliner ever built, with looks to match, like windows that are 25% bigger than most other airliners.
And that changes the whole interior experience of the plane. You can see out beyond the horizon while you're flying, which is really amazing.
The overhead bins are roomier, the seats and aisles slightly wider. Boeing promises air that's less dry and overhead lights that simulate daylight or the nighttime sky, depending on what time it is. But it's what's on the outside that is making this 223-passenger plane a hit with the airline industry. A carbon composite skin instead of the traditional metal. That makes the plane lighter, enabling it to use 20% less fuel than other planes the same size.
I don't think anybody would have thought that fuel prices, including jet fuel prices, would be as high as they are today. So it's been very attractive to our airline customers.
They've gotten nearly 600 orders so far from 45 different airlines worldwide, making the $150 million airplane the fastest-selling commercial airliner in history.
It really gives you a different feel. When
airline industry analyst Peter Gold says the plane is designed for medium-range trips, say from New York to Denver, increasingly the bread and butter of domestic airlines.
It really gives Boeing a boost. They're back in front, they're on top, and I think they're going to stay there for the foreseeable future.
Airbus, Boeing's European rival, isn't faring nearly as well with its new flagship, the A380. The double-decker super jumbo is big enough to carry 555 passengers, but the plane has been plagued by production delays and canceled orders. They've sold fewer than 200 of them so far.
If it is not successful, it's going to bring Airbus to its financial knees.
And in a multi-billion-dollar industry with only two major players, one competitor's turbulence can be the wind beneath the other company's wings. Nancy Cordes, CBS News, Washington.
And now to another aviation story. A panel investigating a deadly chopper crash released dramatic footage today of that accident. The tape shows an Australian Black Hawk helicopter slamming onto the deck of a transport ship last November. Its rotor was severed and the chopper ended up in the sea off Fiji. 2 of the 10 crewmen died. Investigators blame strong winds for the crash, not pilot error. Up in space, the shuttle Atlantis has been given the go-ahead to leave the International Space Station. 2 Russian computers that failed last week passed another test today. That means the shuttle will no longer be needed for backup support. Atlantis is set to depart tomorrow and land in Florida on Thursday. Up next, where in the world is Hassan Elahi? Why this man records every step he takes. We end tonight with a man who is doing more to prove he is innocent than anyone we know. Innocent of what? We don't know, because no one has officially charged him with anything. But if anyone does, he is ready with an alibi. Here's Sharon Alfonsi.
The reason you can always find Hassan Elahi isn't because of his bleached hair or fluorescent green shoes. It's this.
It behaves frighteningly like an ankle bracelet.
Every time he moves, he takes a picture. A GPS pinpoints his location. Then it's all posted on his website. So anyone, anytime, can track his every move from one place to the next.
A lot of people are watching it.
160,000 hits to his website a day. Visitors view every airport he passes through, every meal he eats, every cup of coffee he drinks, and the pit stops that follow.
You can even see the toilets I've just used.
Isn't that a little too much information?
No. I'm all about full disclosure. Okay.
Elahi's overexposed life began in 2002.
Nice to meet you.
When the Bangladeshi-born American
I was born there.
Was detained by FBI agents at the Detroit airport for hours.
Literally out of nowhere, he asks me, "Where were you September 12th?"
Elahi, an art professor, says agents were tipped off that he might be hiding explosives in a storage locker.
Of course, there was nothing there. And I mean, I went through 9 polygraphs.
9 polygraphs.
Yeah, back to back in one
Passed
sitting.
them all, I
Oh,
imagine.
yeah. I mean, I guess I did. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be talking to you.
The questioning lasted 6 months and left Elahi so afraid he'd be detained, he started telling the FBI before he went anywhere. Then he decided, why tell just the FBI? Why not tell everyone everything?
Okay, government, you want to watch me? Come on and watch me.
They are. He says his server shows hits from the Pentagon, the CIA, even the executive office of the president.
You can accuse me of being a terrorist suspect, but I can prove to you that I'm not.
Some may see all this as an invasion of privacy, but to Elahi, the 20,000 images add up to a picture-perfect alibi. Sharon Alfonsi, CBS News, New York.
And that's the CBS Evening News for tonight. For Katie Couric, I'm Russ Mitchell at 524 West 57th Street in New York City. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you again first thing tomorrow on The Early Show. Good night.
CBS News. See it now, anytime, anywhere.